welcome everybody to today's episode where we have Shelina, the poodle trainer, poodle extraordinaire. How are you, my love?
Hello. I am really good and super excited to be here. Really looking forward to this.
Oh, me too, me too. So, for the benefit of our listeners who may not have a clue and as be excited as we are to have you here, please do tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so I'm Shelina. I was originally, well, I kind of still am. I was a teacher, and I trained for my own dogs, and I did this alongside being in school, for 4 years. So I just did my training in my free time and my weekends. And then gosh, it seems like forever ago, November, I took the plunge and went full time. And I've been building up my business around poodles and specifically just teaching poodles, and the odd poodle cross in there. So I don't teach any other breeds at all. It's totally all them online and around the world.
I love it.
I always forget that you had transitioned to this so recently ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as we go through this episode, for
I
everyone
forget.
listening, like you will see the huge success that you've made of this business in
Yeah.
such a short space of time as well. So, do you want to go back to the beginning for us? Can you paint the picture of when you started to become a dog trainer and how you did things versus how you do things now?
Yeah, so literally it was back in COVID. I had to shield, and I remember I had three dogs at the time. I now have nine. Technically I've had 10. And I was sitting at home and I was like, my dogs are driving me insane. Like, what is this? And there's always someone home, and they'd never said that they barked at home before, but my dogs were barking like every second, and it drove me mental. And obviously, with it being lockdown, like I couldn't just go and get a trainer, and I was like, I need to solve this problem somehow. So I just literally started learning, and I absorbed everything I could, and that's how the business started. Um, like at the beginning, it was very much, my evenings and my weekends, because I worked full time alongside it. Now I don't even know how I used to do that, because I used to work ridiculous hours in school. I mean, I'd be there at like 7:15, and I'd leave gone 6, and then I'd go and train someone's dog. Like, I don't even know how I did that. But then it was totally any breed and local. I'd never even heard of niching. Like, I had no clue about it at all. It was just I love doing this, and I'm just going to go out and help as many people as I can.
I love that. And it actually just reminds me how many of us start a business like that, where you are doing everything and you look back and you think, how on earth did I cram all of that stuff into it? I did very similar. My job was like an 80-hour week work, proper job. And then I was dog training around it. And you just think, how on earth is this even doable?
I have no clue. Like, and I would bring work home and do work in the evenings as well. And I'm like, when did I get the time? Like, now I look back and I'm genuinely like, I don't know how I did it or stayed sane. I have no clue how I stayed sane in that period of time whatsoever. Because then at weekends I'd run classes. So I'd be up, Saturday would be classes, and all of Sunday morning would be agility. And I'm like, I don't even, now I'm like, oh, how did I just get up on time to do that? Like, lugging the agility equipment round. I'm like, I've no clue.
So
Absolutely no
take us
clue.
back to that time then. So you were in that kind of mode of like working like your regular job, doing all this on the side. In your mind then, was that something that was sustainable? Was it like in your mind, so you're working it every day, you're doing it and you're like, is this something I can keep doing? Was it always planted in your mind to go like, I want to leave the day job and do the dog training? Like, because there are so many people listening to this
Yeah.
that I know are in that same situation, that don't see a way out, that see it like, I've just got to keep carrying on and doing this thing and it's going to burn me out and I'm going to get to the point where I ditch probably all of it. Like, there's going to be nothing left. So like, where was your head at then?
So originally, when I first become a trainer, like I got all this knowledge, and I did the courses and I become a trainer. I was never going to do a business. I was like, this is going to be my retirement plan. because I never wanted to be, I've seen them and God forbid they listen to this because the teachers will probably recognize themselves, but I never wanted to be that teacher that got to 60 and you could see them, like you could see they'd had it, like they were burnt out. And I never wanted to be that person. I never wanted to be, oh, do I have to be around kids? Like I never wanted to get to that stage. So I was like, this will be my like retirement plan and I'll train when I finish teaching, probably about 55, 60. And then something kind of hit that I realized that I had something that most people didn't, because I had the ability to teach. Like that was just naturally in me. I mean, it just comes so naturally now because it's something I've done for so many years. And I had the knowledge and I was getting success with dogs that I was like, why aren't I doing something with this now? And that's how it started, part like literally in my free time. But it was going to be in my free time. It was always going to be 10 years from now. So like so that was back in 2020. And I was like, I'd sort of said, yeah, 10 years. I might give up then if I feel like it. Like there was no set plan. It was just a rough estimate. And as a year went on, I'd still say it's 10 years. And then like another year went on and I'm like, oh, it's 10 years. And I just never really stuck to it. It was just this idea of I'll have that if I want that as my backup. But I was always kind of, I'm comfortable where I'm at in my job. And then my last school, I became head of primary. And I was like, do you know what? I'm done moving schools. I'm done my career was like thriving. And I was like, I never wanted to be a head teacher for a whole school. I was head of primary within a through school. And I never wanted to go any further than that. So I'd kind of told myself if I leave here, that's when I'll do it. But I had no idea of when I'd leave. It was just going to be, if I leave, that's my next step, because I don't want to go through that whole process again. And then, yeah, circumstances were changing. There were some family situations that changed. And I just was like, do you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of teaching. I'd had an injury and I was like, I need to kind of do it for me. And now I've done it. I literally, honestly, I have no clue how I did it. I've never, since, when I look back, since before I was 18, I have not been able to just get a doctor's appointment when I wanted one. Like, it sounds mad, but I've never been able to do it. I've never been able to like just book the hairdressers for in the day. It had to always be in the holidays, or everything was planned around my 6 weeks, like block of 6 weeks at school, and then I could do something. Oh no, I can't do anything now because I've got 8 weeks at school. I'll do it after. And I just got in that habit. Now I'm like, whoa, this is weird. I've never had freedom like this. But yeah, it wasn't it. I kind of guess, like most people, it wasn't something that I'd put a timestamp on it, but the timestamp just kept moving with time, really. I didn't stick until it was probably last year. I kind of started to think, actually, do you know what? It's getting to that point. Now I have no regrets whatsoever. And for anyone that's listening, I'm like, do it. Do it, because it makes such a difference. And now I can put everything in my business I couldn't before. Because there just wasn't enough time in the day. Like physically, there was not enough time to do everything that I wanted to do.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, isn't there? And I'm curious then. So when you decided to take that jump and go all in, I feel like this might sound like a loaded question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Did you jump for the love of dogs, or did you jump thinking this could be a business that could afford me money, flexibility, and I get to do the thing I enjoy?
My first, probably the thing that excited me most, and the thing that always excites me most, and this is why I love my niche, was I did it for poodles. Like, there is nothing better than that. Like, if everyone asks me, I'm like, it's the poodles. But I knew coming from being in school and being so regimented in what I could do, when I could do it, and having no free time, I knew I wanted to create a business that allowed me time freedom. I wanted to create a business that allowed me money freedom. And I wanted to be able to kind of live my life with my dogs, because my dogs had, I kind of like just kind of not neglected in a sense of not looked after, but I wasn't able to do the fun things I wanted to do with them. Like I'd started to get into agility and do competitions, and then I had to stop that because there just wasn't enough time to teach and train and do my dogs. I knew I'd planned, at this point, I'd planned to get my puppy to show. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to show. Some shows are on Fridays, some are on Thursdays. I'm never going to be able to show if I'm teaching. And so I knew that actually, although it's about the dog, and I love the dogs, like literally and the people I get to work with are amazing. Like I absolutely love them. But I knew I wanted more that would allow me to have more for me as well, which then would allow me to give more to my family, to my dogs, and it all kind of came together. So yeah, it was definitely I at the point I literally I'd say to myself, like, if it all went wrong, I could just go and train all dogs, right? I could just put an advert out sort of locally and be like, hey, who needs a trainer? And I always had that in the back of my mind, but it also always made me feel like, oh, I don't want to. And that was the difference with like that enthusiasm of doing this, was because I get to do it with the breed I love. I don't just do it because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I love it. And I love actually that you are able to encompass everything into it, because I think what a lot of people do in this industry is it has to be one or the other. You either love what you do and it's super passionate and we get to do the dog thing, and you know, we kind of expect that we're not going to make enough money from it and we're going to have to work evenings and weekends to accommodate those
Yeah.
people that are still in full-time jobs. Or you are, and I still think that it is a prominent thought in our industry that if you do lead with more of a business mindset and you think about the money and you think about how you want to manage your time and stuff, that maybe you don't care as much about the dogs. So I love that actually it was an all-encompassing thing, because it's certainly the message that we put out there a lot and going like, you can have it all, it is okay. But I think the vibe I'm getting from you when you're talking is mindset wise, you were prepared to actually go in and go, this is a business. This isn't a hobby anymore that
Yeah.
I obviously enjoy the thing that I'm doing. And, you know, you can feel and see your passion coming through when you talk about poodles. But there is that distinct line that we certainly don't see in everybody when we have to start thinking, hold on, this is a business. So what was the steps that you took after it's almost like one day we went, I'm going to do this. And then the next day we did that. And obviously it's never like that. It's a journey. But what was kind of the process around you thinking, right, this has to be a business. This has to work. What was the journey like there? Where did you start? What were kind of the first few steps you took?
Yeah. So to start with, before I'd even I knew I'd always sort of said I had a business. It just kind of come out that way because I didn't really know how else to describe what I was. And if I would tell people, oh, I'm a trainer, they would ask me, do you work for someone else? Are you like a franchise? Because I don't know if you can, they'd see my logo and they'd be like, are you a franchise? And I'm like, no. And I generally would look at them like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they'd be like, who do you train for? And I'm like, I don't, I train for myself. And from that, I started the conversation of it's my own business, because people didn't seem to understand. I mean, I've no idea where they got my franchise from my logo, but so many people would ask, like, you know, like if I went to Pets at Home and place like that, they'd be like, oh, well, who's in charge? And I was like, I am.
Me.
I was like, what? So I literally from that point really early on, I was like, it's my business. So I already kind of had that mindset of it, but it was very much in my free time and in my, you know, in my spare time that I had. And then I realized that kind of around, it's about a couple of years ago now, and I'd realized that I needed to start to build it more to be able to, I still didn't have a time when I was going to leave, but I knew that I needed to build it more to be able to make it sustainable when I left, like to actually be able to do it. So I looked into some coaching, and I got some coaching within like actual experts within dogs, and had business coaching within that. But that was around building my business, like building my services, building my membership, and building that up. So I'd kind of had, again, like there was this like inkling in the back of my mind that this is a business, but I didn't really know. I literally had no idea about business. I didn't do business studies at school. It was never anything that was in my mind of starting. And then last summer, kind of everything changed last summer. My sister passed away. My niece come to live with me, and I was like, okay, like something's got to change. I can't look after her and work full time and do my free time. Like it's never, my training, it's never going to work. So I started to look. I just started sort of listening to podcasts. I started listening like on YouTube to different business coaches, like not within the dog world. And I just started to kind of absorb things that they were saying. And one in particular would say, and again, I think people shy away from this, but I was really like, I want that. She would say like 10K is your minimum month. If you're not making 10K a month, your business isn't thriving. And she's like, and then that's, you don't stay there, you carry on moving. And I was like, oh, right. Like that makes sense to me. And not because I'm money obsessed, but because I want to be able to put it into my business so I can do more for the guys that I serve, like that I work with. I want to be able to do stuff with my dogs. I want to be able to have the time with my niece. And that was one thing that since I've started, I see so many posts where people are like, how do you manage a dog training and your children and give your children time? And I've just been like, guys, I've got to go. I'm dealing with this. And I've always just kind of literally been like, okay, laptop's down, I'm going to go to you. But I needed, obviously, to be able to do that and to be able to not be stressing about getting clients in all the time. I needed the income to be able to not have to stress over it. So last summer, it really just got me thinking of being a business owner and thinking of it. I didn't think of it as a small business either. That kept me in the mindset of I shouldn't do much. Like I should be quiet and I should be little and I should just be local. So I stopped calling myself a small business and I just said that I owned a business, which just totally changed my mindset. Like it now, I'm like, nothing is impossible. Whereas before I was like, oh no, I'll just be locally, and if I move, I'll have to reset up because no one will know me. And actually, it's not how it is. Like I'm known around the world. So yeah, it was the mindset that changed. But when I really realized, I guess I took myself out of my little bubble of being in the dog world, and I was like, I popped that and was like, I want to know more. And as soon as I started to know more, I was like, why am I keeping myself small?
Do you know what? I'm
pop in a dog cherry bubble. I love it.
Yeah, but you see, like this was so me. I felt exactly the same as you. I was like,
Yeah.
I've got limitations here. I am just a local trainer, and I exactly that. If I move, like my business used to be called, because I was part of a franchise, Puppy School, and it was called Puppy School Redditch. And I was like, oh, I need to change the name because my venue is now not in Redditch, it's outside of Redditch. And it was so stupid, like the way I used to think. I say stupid, it's not stupid. And there's probably lots of people here listening to this thinking the same thing. Yeah, so it isn't stupid at all. So I shouldn't have said that. I didn't know any different. I never looked outside the industry until I met Jo and she opened me out to this different world. But like I'm really curious to know, like, how did you make that transition to start listening to things and watching things outside the industry? Because if somebody had said to me, well, you did say to me, but it would never have occurred to me naturally to go, if I listen to just a business like Stephen Bartlett, for example, let's say, or Alex Hormozy, or one of the people I admire now, like if I listen to that, there's no way I can apply anything to my little tiny dog business that I've got. Like, what kind of made you be able to start absorbing that information?
Do you know what? I started it I started it from a point of view of my brand, but looking at it not as within the dog world. That started me off. That was kind of like my little stepping stone to being able to do more, because I felt like I wanted to understand my brand more, and I wanted to be able to get it out there, especially as I was changing, because go with the flow is like my umbrella, if you like. That's my name, but I've become Shelina the poodle trainer, and I was trying to transition between the two and working out like, who am I? What am I? What's going on with it? And that it allowed me to kind of comfortably step out into this crazy world of business and away from the comfort zone of being in dogs, because I felt like and I can see it, like everyone's like, oh, you're a pet coach, this is great because you get me, and you're a dog coach, and so, but everyone kind of stuck together, and it was great. Like I used that to my advantage totally, and I bought into that, and it was brilliant. And I literally, like, anyone do it, like you need that to get started on. But then when I started to look further aside, and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get this. And then it just got me hooked. Like once I'd started understanding, and there was a few things that I remember one of them saying, and I'd be like, oh, I get that. And that was it. I was like, I need to know more. And then it was things like free challenges that were on and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm just gonna, why not? Like, no one needs to know them there. I can lurk. I don't need to put myself out there. I don't need to say, hi, I'm here. I can lurk in the back of a Facebook group, and I can just see what it's all about. And from that, I just was like, hi, I'm Shelina. And literally now, like in one of the memberships that I'm in, everyone laughs. Like as soon as I come on and we talk, people are putting poodle emojis in the comments, and like, and these are people that like all around the world. I've not even met some of them, but they all know. And none of them, I'm the only one with dogs. I'm the only one that's a dog trainer. But to them, they're just like, no, you are a business owner. And they know me for what they know me for. And I'm not a small business to them. I'm not lesser of a business to them. Like I'm a total equal in that I am a business owner. I have a business. But it was the small stepping stone that got me there. I think it's really easy for us to think big and then scare ourselves. And then go, oh no, I'll go shrink back. Definitely the
Into
small
safety
stepping stone
zone again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just doing another interview actually, and the topic came up of we are conditioned to stay small. We're almost conditioned to stay in your lane, but in the wrong way of staying in your lane. So there's the one side of staying in your lane, which we talk about a lot, and going like, fight for the thing that you want to do, fight for the thing that you want to be known for, put your clients first, and like stay in that lane so you're focusing on one thing and one bit of messaging. But I think in small business world, and again specifically in the dog industry, it's almost like we're so conditioned to just go, oh, well, just go out there, go and see what everybody else is doing, kind of copy it, maybe just go middle of the road and average it out. And that's it. Like all you can really do is just offer puppy classes, all of this. You can't really reinvent the wheel. And like to a certain extent, there is an element of truth in that. But this is where having that business acumen and know-how and the desire to actually run it like a business. And I feel like out of everything, that mindset to actually want to run it as a business is so, like, to me, I think that is the fundamental thing that if you don't have it, you could invest in business coaching and it's not going to work. You could invest in that magic wand that's going to go, oh yeah, okay, go and make those 10K months. Brilliant. But if you don't believe in yourself as a business owner and that CEO and owning that badass bitch role in our case, then we're going to go, well, hold on. It's not feasible for me. And a topic that's coming up a lot recently as well is I think a lot of us as business owners are so stuck in the ways of we're comparing ourselves to others, and we're almost seeking approval from others within the industry.
Yeah.
And it's like, where does that even come from? Because they're not going to pay your bills. They might put a little shitty comment on your posts and say like, yeah, whatever. However, this is where that stay in your lane bit, you just keep doing what you're doing, you keep doing your thing and shining so brightly that actually it dims everything else. But we have got to start operating from our own benefit, which will therefore benefit your clients, and stop caring in some respect like what other business owners think of us.
Yeah, totally. Like I can remember being really kind of there was a post, it wasn't that long ago, like literally it was probably last September, August, sometime around there, and someone put a post in the group saying, who specializes, does anyone know which trainers specialize in which breeds? And some people have suggested the ones that I knew, and the ones that I knew were kind of out there and everyone knew about them. And I sat there for ages thinking, do I put my name forward? Do I say that I specialize in poodles? And I wrote it and I deleted it, and I wrote it and I deleted it. And I was like, oh, what do I do? And in the end, I was like, just press it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? As it was, it got me on a podcast, and it started, it literally, people took note. Some didn't care. Some were like, oh, okay, I'm going to remember you. Some I found later on that I've started talking to people and they were like, yeah, I know who you are. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you know who I am? But that first step of actually putting it down there and being like, this is me, this is what I do, was terrifying. But having now done that and having put myself out there, it's really not as scary as it seems to put yourself out there. And majority of people, if they're not interested, they're not interested. They'll just scroll past. And I kind of made it my aim. Like if I annoy someone, when I got my first troll, I was like, yes, I've done it. Right. Like, and everyone's terrified of this. And I was like, yes, I've made it. And now like that's it now. I'm like, I put stuff out, and if you're gonna comment on it, you comment on it, and we'll have a conversation. I will be civil and I will be my professional self within that. But I don't hold back worrying about what somebody else is going to write anymore, or what somebody else is going to think. And since I stopped that, like I say, that light has been shining so brightly, because I've stopped worrying what somebody else might think, and chances are they don't think it. And it has just brought so many more things in. The other thing that I like looking at being a business owner, I see like lots of friends that I know that are trainers, they're like, oh, I've packed out like every day. And then they're like, well, I don't have time to do my social media. I don't have time for this. Whereas I literally have my CEO day, and I don't just do content. I look at it from a marketing perspective. I look at it from sales. Like I come from all areas. Although it's just me, I come from all areas on it, and I make sure like what's the plan for the week, and where am I missing things? What do I need to pick up on? And then the training obviously comes in alongside that. But I have that every week set day where I have my day to look at it as my business, not just, oh, I'm in it, I'm training, I'll do a quick 5 minutes when I've got 5 minutes. I'm fully like, that is my day to do it on. And I think that makes all the difference as well.
How do you, okay, so that, yeah, totally, that's a game changer, isn't it? How do you start to make that transition to allow yourself that day every week? Because again, from the communities that we're in and from our clients that we're working with, oh, but I'd love to do that, but I have to just keep working. I have to keep bringing in the money, working in the business, like delivering the thing. Like, how do you even start to know that that's an investment you need to make in yourself almost?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was really strict with myself. And I literally, right from the beginning, I mean, because I've got a lot of clients in America, I did a lot of work, well, still do now, in the evenings. So there are like a couple of evenings a week, I'll go do my lives, I'll do my membership. So it freed up some time in the morning. I could have very easily just gone, I'll train in the morning. But I was aware that I've done a career of long hours. I mean, I used to work through my lunch. Like I'd sit and eat and be like, I'm going. I never stopped. And that was one thing that was like, I am not going back to that. I do not want to fall back into a trap of working every single minute of every day, because otherwise I may as well teach. And I may as well have a guaranteed salary that's going to come in and just go with that, really. So I knew that I'd have my more part of my day could be freer because I did my evenings. So my mornings, it started off my mornings, I'd literally go to Costa every morning and I'd plan my social media for the day and I'd answer any inquiries, I'd reply to emails, like I did all of that sort of stuff in the morning. And then that led me, the more I kind of worked on my social media and the more I understood it, and again, learning from people that aren't within dogs, like I started to learn more about what is a marketing like campaign, like what do you do? Then I was like, hey, I need time to do this every day. And I remember one day being like, right, Mondays, that's what you're gonna do. Every Monday, that is your day. And I just blanked out. I was like, that's the equivalent of me training. On a Monday, this is what I do. And then I set my whole week up knowing what needs to go out there, what money I've got coming in, where I need to get more money in, where I've got time to do extra, what I'm going to do in my membership. Like everything is planned out on that Monday, which starts my week off incredibly because I'm not already like, oh, I'm behind and I haven't done this and I haven't done that. Like literally my Mondays are my let's get it done. And it makes such a difference. But I was really strict with myself and I was just like, you're doing it. This is what we do. Yeah. And I think part of it, I have been really strict with myself. I have, because I am the person that will run away and I'm the person that will just work all the hours God will give us. But I will, like, I can see some evenings, I'm like, right, you've got 3 calls tonight. So you can go and sit on your bum for 3 hours and watch TV if you want to. Like I always end up back on the laptop. But I allow myself that. I allow myself some time. If I'm not going to have my evening, you have it in the day. You still have that time. And I got rid of the guilt. Like I just was like, we're not going to feel guilty over that. This is your business, so you can decide how it runs, when you work, and it's going to work for me. It's not me working for it. But I was strict. Like straight from the beginning, I was like, no, this is it, and I've stuck to it.
Yeah, well done for doing that.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, when I started to do this, I used to, I'll just book Sandra in for her training session on that day. Like I used to be terrible and you used to tell me off a lot and be like, that's supposed to be for a day of you working on a business. I'm like, I know. Yeah. But I think back then I still wasn't fully believing in myself and that business was growing, but it was like the infancy of it growing. So I think there was more mindset work to do. And then like now with CBA, there is no way. Well, we've just put in Thursdays, haven't we, as our kind of strategy day because we realised that we weren't spending enough time together.
Which is ironic.
Which is ironic, really. But we're together, but we're doing things like this and we're delivering stuff. Like we're not actually spending enough time, or we weren't spending enough time discussing the things that need discussing because then the business like strategy changes because you're getting bigger and your vision is different and you need to think about the next steps. And that is what we have realised actually very recently, that we need to now allow that time. So that is going to be a huge like game changer for us actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's, or that I totally understand when people are in the situation, because again we've both been there. I don't think it's possible for anybody to skip over this step. You have to go through it.
Through this.
you have to go through the pain of, oh shit, now like I'm in that catch-22 of I either haven't got enough work in and now I'm in Scratsville, or I'm just sitting staring aimlessly at a computer because I just don't know what to do because I haven't got a strategy. I don't even know what that word means. I don't know where to get it from. I don't know anything. And I'm just hoping that leads are going to fall out of the sky and land in my lap and go, I need you. And then that desperation bit kicks in. Or on the flip side, okay, you're generating enough sales, but it's not an investment that it should be. So you're still scratching, you're still not making enough money, but now you work in 80-hour weeks and there's no time. And it's like, where on earth do you, so on one respect, you've then got, well, if I'm not getting anything in, I haven't got the financial investment to get additional support and bring it in. On the flip side, I haven't got any time because I've got to service all these clients. So then how can I possibly take that day out or those few hours out. And I think this is where that hard work happens. And I want to emphasize it because I do think there is a thought process that occurs where we think we can skip over this and we can avoid it happening. And
I don't think we can.
Wow. I remember being pregnant with my second child, so my little boy Hudson, and the business was growing at such a pace. So it's in like its third year. And I was 7 months pregnant and I was working, probably 80-hour weeks actually. But, and these were like 10, 15K months. And I was getting new staff on and I was doing that. But I was working right up to the point where he was born like the day after I decided to stop. I was like, oh, hello, here we go. But I was still having to manage that whole, right, okay, I had to bring the staff member on because I was like, I can't physically do this. I'm now going to have all this time off. I'm going to have to do all of it. And it is that scary transition period because like bringing staff on, if anybody's done it, is fucking scary. You don't know who's coming in. You've got this whole thought process of, but this is my business. Like I've created this. They're not going to be as good as me. I haven't got time to train them. I haven't got time to do this. And it's just go, go, go. And I think the ability to hit pause, pun intended, to reflect and go, right, hold on. Our favourite phrase, like if nothing changes, nothing is going to change here. I'm not going to be able to grow. I'm not going to actually be able to have this time off that I now want to spend with my newborn. I'm not going to be able to do all of this stuff. And what's going to happen? I'm either going to burn out or I have to just close it completely because I just can't do both. So I think for everybody listening, trying to take that first step in whatever way that looks like to be able to afford yourself some time, whether that is like listening to a podcast. So actually taking it back to when you said you were first entering the realm of the business cult world that we like to refer to it as, because it does feel very cultish. Did you actively seek out mentorship initially, or did you just happen to come across like a podcast, or what was it that opened your eyes to that world? Because I don't think it's a really obvious world until you're in it.
Some posts had literally, like when Facebook gives you posts that are suggested for you, one had come up, and the hook on it really just, it got me, and I was like, I'm going to read that. And then the more I read, I was like, oh, okay. And literally I hit follow and was like, nothing to lose from following you. So then a few more come up, and then that was when I started, was like, I'm going to look into this a bit more. And that's when I then went to listen to some podcasts and I started to look into it more. But originally it was just a post. Like the post made me go, oh, okay, who are you and what do you do and are you useful to me? Was my thought. But I never intended, at that point, I never intended to buy into it. I never had any thought process of investing in any of that. I was literally just like, I wonder what nuggets I can get from your content. Was where I was at, because I didn't know anything, and I just was like, can I know little bits more? Like what else is there to understand? Was like literally that was my starting point, was the lovely Facebook giving me
the Facebook algorithm helped you.
Yeah, it did. For once.
I want to stay on that for a moment, because within that message is the importance of that consistency bit. It's the importance of, if that had been the only post you had seen and not seen anything else, you may not be where you are today. And I think for a lot of us business owners out there who then think, oh God, this thing isn't working, or how many times do I need to put this thing out? It's like, you've got to keep showing up, because like you said, at that moment in time,
going.
Yeah, you weren't ready to buy at that time. And this is what happens to our dog owners out there who we're trying to support and sell our services to. Like the first time they see your post or your sale or your pitch or whatever, they may not be ready, and they need to know, like, trust. And yes, it's overused, but it's overused for a very good reason.
Yeah.
We have to keep doing that. So I just wanted to emphasize that point.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good reminder to us all that you just got to keep showing up.
And when you were talking about like not being able to take time off for your day and constantly being like book everyone in. I think the big changing point for me there was I went from thinking that I wasn't good enough, and I wasn't well known enough, and I wasn't good enough to say to people, actually, no, you've got to wait 3 weeks for an appointment, or no, I can't book you in on Monday. So whatever days, I would ask them, what days work for you? And I'd go with whatever they said. And when I had a bit of a mindset shift on, actually, I'm in demand, I'm good at what I do, it's got to work for me, that I was like, oh, I'm not saying to them anymore, what works for you? I've got these. If these don't work, we'll look at some others. And that totally changed it, because then no one books on my Monday, because I don't give them the option of Monday anymore. But it took a mindset shift in me. It took me to realize that I was worth that, and I had enough value to be able to do that, and that I was wanted. I think it's the biggest thing, because although you've got clients coming in, you almost feel, because you keep yourself small, you almost feel like you compare yourself to other people, like the big businesses that you know in the dog world, and you think, oh, I'm not them, so I better just keep someone happy. But when that stopped, so much else changed. Like, that was a real turning point for me as well.
I've got a question for you. So, big question. So we've talked about mindset a lot. So we truly believe, and I think I know what the answer is going to be, we're going to ask it anyway. We are business coaches. We are that thing, mentors, whatever. But we are working with mindset so much throughout everything we do. Like, it's literally the backbone of every single thing that we do. And so for you and your journey, obviously entering into the business world, looking outside the industry and all of that, what percentage would you say of the mindset versus the business actual skills, like if you want to kind of tangibly call them like business skills, would you say that you've kind of lent on?
Majority of it is mindset, because if I didn't have the mindset, I wouldn't have the business skills anyway. Like, the business skills are pointless if I didn't believe in that I could do it. And I didn't, like, I had so much to change in my mindset in terms of like being good enough and money blocks. Like, I didn't even know money blocks existed, but I was like, wow.
Love talking
Joe's
about
got really
money.
excited now. Money blocks.
But honestly, I was like, when someone first said it to me, I was like, what are you talking about? And I remember Googling it thinking, what is this? And then I was like, oh, that's what's wrong with most of us. Like, that is what's wrong with most of us. And then I was aware of other people's opinions and other people's thoughts on my business and what my business should be like and how I should behave. And all of that, it wasn't just me and my mindset, it was huge. And when you've got all of that and you hold on to that, and you've had that for years, like some of the beliefs, like being on programs that I've been on with other people and things, some of the beliefs people have and I've been for you since you were kids, like they've been ingrained in you. And we I guess it's like safety, isn't it? That survival, we push that away and pretend it's not there and pretend that that's not causing the problem. But 80% of the time that's the problem. 90% of the time that's the problem. Because if I hadn't have done, I mean, like, I was on a program in January, and this, like, it was a business program, but oh my, like, people literally on our last call, people were putting in the comments like, Shelina, you're a whole different person. They were like, the transformation, and I remember screenshotting it thinking, I can't believe people have said this, but they were like, the whole process you've been through. And I was really open, and I was like, guys, like, wow, I've just thought of this. And I would literally be like, okay, this has just happened to me. And sometimes I'd be like, I'm sitting here in tears and I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm crying. And people literally were like, it's been insane to watch, but that's been huge and like so vital in me being able to do this business. Because if I'd left that and I'd just gone for the business strategy, if you like, and the tools that you need, I already had some of that. Like, not to the extent my marketing and everything wasn't where I needed it to be, but I had a business set up and I had enough to keep me going, and it wasn't where I wanted it to be. and I would probably still be in that situation now. I probably, no, I wouldn't say probably. I know I wouldn't have been able to niche. Not like I have. I would have been able to keep the online stuff, because I've had the online stuff for a couple of years, but I was working with other breeds in person. I wouldn't have been able to change from that. I would have had to keep going with that, because that was all my business could give me, because I couldn't give it anything else. Like, I didn't have it in me to give everything else. So mindset is huge and it's scary, but when you kind of give into it and you're like, okay, let's go for this wild ride.
It is a wild ride.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
It's ironic though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like how important it is, yet nobody seeks out.
No one looks for it.
It's like, I don't want to go on that roller coaster. That looks far too scary. Like, I don't want to
No.
delve into the depths of my soul and see all my failings and flaws. It's like, no, thank you. Just teach me how to get like 10K months.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the block is massive. Like the block, the amount, and I couldn't see it before. Like, I had no idea. But now I'm like, you're stopping yourself from getting that. Like you've the way you speak about your business, the way you word your messaging, you think it's on point and you think, yeah, that's really good, but it's off. And there's things about it, but because subconsciously you are kind of blocking yourself, and because that success is scary. Like, success is unknown, and what on earth could happen if this is like truly successful. Whereas if I keep it small and I struggle to get money in and I kind of work all the hours, it's known, right? It's safe and you know exactly what to expect. So your body keeps you there, your mind keeps you there. Even when you're like, no, I don't want to. Everything that you put out says keep me small. And that's where the mindset has to change. Otherwise you're stuck. You are literally stuck. I mean, I've literally, like I say, this has been super quick. What are we on, like 6 months? This has been insanely quick for me. But I would not be where I was now if I hadn't have taken that leap and done that. That program run I went in January, if I'd not done that, I would I can't even remember the person I was. Like, it's that much of a change, but you have to do it. Like, if you're really thinking I want my business to be a success and be a business, like, you've got to start small, but you've got to start on it. You definitely have to look at your mindset.
I'm going to lean in on this as well, because that growth you've had in such a short period of time, I know there will be people listening that are potentially enrolled in programs of a similar nature, potentially, and maybe they are 6 months in, maybe they're 12 months in, and maybe they haven't moved the needle at all in their business, but then the likes of you and other people in their cohorts and stuff are fucking smashing it. Now, the skills taught are the same, and I know it's this mindset thing that is the blocker. It's how I almost want to just emphasize that point, that you can see the differences, can't you, in your group? And I'm certain that even in your group where you were working with other people, you will have seen people not make as much progress, and you can see the blockers within them as well.
Yeah.
So it's for everybody listening going, if you are finding yourselves on this journey and you are feeling frustrated and going, oh, like it's not working for me, but it's working for them, it's not fair, that's not... Oh, this is the harsh reality where we have to look inwards and go, hold on 1 second. What are they actually doing that's different? Because it can't just work for, it's not that. And again, I think this is where a lot of us tell our own stories, don't we? It's like, oh, well, maybe they're in a different area.
I was going to say they live in a different area and they can get better clients, or they're more affluent or whatever. Yeah. It's those kind of stories.
Yeah, they've been going longer, even if they've not been doing it very well. They've been going longer, so maybe they're known more. But like you were saying, like we keep ourselves safe, which is weird because it doesn't feel safe. It feels really scary and horrible. but
it's known, it's predictable. It's predictable. And the same, like literally it's the same way children behave, and I see it all the time even when I was in school. It's because it's known, it's predictable, it's safe, so you go for that. But as soon as you add in the slightest bit of change and it becomes unpredictable, it's too much, because you have no clue what could happen. And that puts, as much as we're like, yeah, I want that, everything in us says, no, don't do that. And we shrink back down. I think that one of the really good things for me was so the program I was on, again, I was the only dog trainer. Everybody else had totally different businesses. Some were in sales, some were into like totally random things. One was into fitness and things. And that also helped me not compare my business, because I can remember doing it when I was working with someone within the industry. There was somebody else who'd worked with them previously, and I remember thinking, you're putting all this out on social media and look how successful you are. I have no idea if they were as successful as they said they were. I have no idea, because you can put out whatever you want. But I instantly compared myself, and that then kept me small. Whereas when I took myself out of the dog industry and was surrounded by other people, it was easier to let go of that. I didn't compare as much, because we're doing totally different things, totally different things. Which just, it made it so much easier not to have to compare. And the other thing that I know, because I say this to people and they're like, what? I stopped, not to say I'll forever stop, but I stopped taking dog training courses. I stopped.
Praise
Some
the
people
Lord.
are horrified, but I stopped buying them, right? I stopped enrolling on every single course that came out, because yes, it taught me how to train better or to do new things, but it didn't help my business. And just because I've got another thing to my, another feather to my hat and another course under me, and I can do this and I can do this, no one cared. Like, the general public didn't care, because let's face it, most people are still going to balance trainers, right? Most people are still using aversive methods. They didn't care that I had all of these things under me. But what changed was when I went through the business side of this. My business changed. People cared, because suddenly I was in front of them and they were like, oh, I need to work with her. And that was the massive difference. And I know that there's a few things that I'm like, oh, in the future, I'd like to dive into that a bit more within the dog world. But right now I'm like, stop buying the courses and using them as an excuse not to grow. Because that was part of it. Part of it was like, I want to know more knowledge, and I did. But if I just stuck to training knowledge, I didn't have to think about a business. So I had the excuse of not growing it. Not, it didn't matter. If it didn't go anywhere, it's fine. I haven't bought a business course. So it would just become another excuse.
Yeah. And that is another way of keeping yourself safe, isn't it? Like, looking at it in that way, it's like, let's default to the dog knowledge stuff, because that's easier. We know it more. We feel comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
If we purchase something else that we're not quite sure about, oh God, that means I actually have to do the bloody work and make sure that I get the thing done. So yeah, totally. Oh, this is so great.
I want to do like a mic drop and a little dance with
God.
some rave music all around. It's just
what, because of the not purchasing dog knowledge?
Yeah. It's like, fucking hell, people. Like,
we have so many conversations about this.
Like, if you're obsessed with something, you study it anyway. Like, read all the books at home, listen to the podcast, do all the stuff, but do it for your business as well. Like, please listen. We have to, if we want to inspire change, if we've got a message that we want to put out to the big wide world and we want to make a difference and you want to help more people, you have to shine so fucking brightly that you are the only thing on your specific audience's radar, and you are not going to do that by putting another shiny badge on your website that nobody's looking at anyway, because they're not even able to get to your website because they don't know you exist, because you're too busy hiding behind books and courses.
They really
that
don't care.
sit in an Ethernet somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It's irrelevant to them, isn't it? It's totally irrelevant to them.
Yeah. It amazes me how much we seem to breed this within this industry. And this comes back to, who are you actually doing your business for? Are you doing it for yourself and your clients, or are you doing it for your colleagues, peers, all the air quotes, competitors? Like, who's your business existing for?
But also, the more courses you do on dog stuff, like, let's face it confuses the hell out of you, because you then don't know what to focus on. So instead of like getting the thing that you do already really, really well and even better, you start going, oh, I could add that on and tack this on, and
Oh, it's so
run
confusing.
this
Yeah,
like that's
it's
what
so
happened to me.
confusing.
Absolutely
Oh,
happened
God,
to
the
me.
amount of things I used to try and shoehorn in because I'd learned it on a thing. I was like, oh my, and this has got nothing to do with what we're doing, but because I'm the professional, I want to practice this thing
I
that
wanna
I've just
do
learned. So I'm going to shoehorn this little
Yeah.
exercise in.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, why are we doing that? And I'd just come up with some bullshit reason because I just wanted to trial it, really, being completely honest.
And again, we're not thinking of the customers, their outcomes, their
No.
results. We're just thinking of ourselves, which,
Yeah,
you know, I think, again, it just all interlinks together, doesn't it? Everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, Shelina, where are you now? What is business looking like for you now?
So now I am totally poodles. I haven't had an inquiry for a different breed since before November. I've had one. I had one the other day for what was he? A bulldog, and it's because she'd found. So she's local, and she'd found my original website, which was for all breeds. So she'd inquired for classes, and I was like, I'm not actually doing classes at the moment. This is what I'd recommend instead. And I literally was like, direct her to somebody else, because yes, I could take it and I could get paid for doing that, but that's an hour, 2 hours if I travel out of my time of what I want to be doing, like really want to focus on. So I didn't take it. I pretty much, so I have my membership, I have a group program that's running at the moment, and I have my one-to-ones, and that is kind of how it's working. I have two different sets of one-to-ones. So I have one-to-ones that pay per session, and I have one-to-ones that pay for a month. And they are, some are in person, some are around the world. And I focus on my membership, that I'm kind of in there 3 times a week, and I have my group program at the moment, which runs for 12 weeks. And inquiries are insane. They're coming through all the time. Like even yesterday, so I've got a group of, you'll know I've got my 14,000 members in my group. And I've really focused probably the last month on, they were engaged, but they were only engaged for things like post a picture, or them asking something. They weren't as engaged if I was talking about something. So the group was busy, like there was stuff going on in the group, but they weren't liking stuff, they weren't commenting as much on my stuff. So I've had a massive push on that, and literally I've had people that have been in my group for 2 years say, how do I get your training? Literally last night I had a guy, he's in Australia, he's well known in the show world with poodles, and he's been in my group probably about 8 months. I think he's been in. We're friends on Facebook, but we don't officially like know each other or anything at all. You know, you just like, I like you and hope you accept me. And literally last night I tagged everyone in a live I was doing last night, and he listened to the live, and he said to me, my poodle's perfect in the show ring, reactive outside. And I explained, literally, I was like, this is why. Ding. He was like, oh, he messaged me straight after and was like, right, can you help with my reactive dog? If that goes well, I breed, and I'd love to get my puppies on your puppy program. And literally that was it. No, can I ask? Nothing. It was just, help me with my reactive dog. If this goes well, you can have my puppies. His only query was, how does it work in Australia? And that's easy because everything's recorded. And if you one-to-one message me, you can message me and I'll reply. Like my mornings are your evenings, we can talk then. So none of it's a problem. But literally I tagged everyone. He saw my live yesterday, and then he messaged literally an hour later. And that's the kind of impact it's having at the moment, really. Literally people are just reaching out all the time.
And that just proves that he might not have been ready at the beginning, but then he was ready at that time, and your life
many
came at the
ready.
right time and everything.
Yeah.
So.
And I wasn't, like, when I look back now, even though I was growing that group, and I grew that group hard, like I was on a mission to grow that group. But I was never on a mission to sell. That part hadn't come into my mind. I was just like, let's just grow this group. Again, no strategy. Like I didn't have that behind it because I wasn't running a business. I was just like, okay, I'm going to open a free group and let's get as many people in as possible. And I did, like, I got 14,500 in it, but I didn't have a strategy. Whereas now with my business mind on, I'm like, right, this is my strategy now to get them actually engaging and getting them buying. And it is working. But it's having, the biggest thing was having my Mondays to sit there and be like, right, what am I doing in my group? What's the process? Like, what's the funnel they're going to go through from engaging in one of my posts to going all the way through to buying? And that's made the biggest difference, because so I've opened, my membership's open this week. And the inquiries just keep coming. Like it's, and I put the price up. The inquiries just keep coming in, and people are like, how do I join? How do I access this? Where do I get this from? And it's constant. Whereas I never had that before. Literally before I'd be like, hi. Yeah, I know. Like a friend, I trained her dog actually a couple of years ago. I think it was a couple of years ago, maybe a year. No, it must have been 2. And I hadn't been in touch with her for ages. And I saw her at the weekend, and she was like, oh, I was like, did he pass his service dog assessment? She was like, yeah, he aced it. And it was being reactive to dogs. So I'd worked, literally, I was like, I'm on a mission to get this dog to not be reactive. And he passed. And I was like, that's awesome. She was like, I messaged you. I was like, when? She was like, for about 5 weeks ago. I was like, oh, I missed that.
Got buried.
I was like, I'm so sorry. She was like, yeah, can you go back and look? I was like, I'll go and read it now. But that's almost like what's gone on with it, really. Like, it's just coming through all the time that I'm like, oh, another one. Oh, another one. But it's a great place to be in compared to, and I've been there. I was there where at the beginning I was like, oh, let me try and talk to them and let me ask them if they want in. And it felt salesy. Now it doesn't feel salesy. Now it's them being like, hey, I need this. Like, I need what you're doing. And that makes all the difference. All the difference.
So what I'm hearing here was there was a lot of graft, there was a lot of reach outs, there was a lot of talking to people, doing all the stuff that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, and totally.
And look what happens when we push through.
Totally uncomfortable. I literally remember thinking, this is way out of my comfort zone, and I hate it, and I didn't want to do it, and I'd rather have just hid under a pillow than have to message somebody or try and start a conversation. But once you got past that, it was putting me out there that got that, and putting myself out there. I had to kind of force myself to do it. But when you get past it and you get into this stage, it's like, oh, this is nice. This is what it should be like.
And actually, I don't think if you do enough of it, it doesn't take that long to get over it. And I think going back to the limiting beliefs and projecting your thoughts and opinions on others, that comes into that a lot, doesn't it? Because you're like, what are they going to think? What are they going to say if I, say we've got, because we're always doing it. We say we've got something happening. We've got a giveaway. We've got a challenge. We've got something going on. And we'll DM people. And I remember feeling like the first time I did that, like, oh, God, what are they going to think? And it's like, you're serving them. You're telling them there's something coming up that's going to benefit them. And it could be free or very low cost. And it's going to be a thing that's going to make a difference. And I think that, again, is mindset, flipping it and going like, you are doing a good thing here.
Absolutely. Like so part of it was I realized that like I have got a service that's going to help you. This is for you. And when I realized that helped me kind of go, just send it and tell them. It even got to the point lately, no one, I think it's Messenger hiding it, but like my messages, people aren't seeing my messages. And they've asked, like, so this week, with my membership, I've been like, comment school if you want to get more information and join. And people have been commenting, and I then send them a message with the information. And literally, when you go back, none of them have been seen. None of them have even noticed that I'm there. Before, I would have gone, oh, well, they obviously don't want me. Now I'm like, no, that is it being hidden. So let me go and comment and say, hey, I've sent you a message. You've missed it. Here's the link here. Or you can click my name, message me, and then you'll find it. Like, I've given really clear steps. I would never have done that before. But I know if I don't give them those clear steps, they're going to stay stuck in the problem that they've got, because I have the solution for them. But it's getting yourself out there to do that can be really tough. But hey, the more you practice it, the easier you get over it. you just got to go for it.
Oh my God, she's literally dancing.
I do. Just like, love love it. Just going to keep dancing away. Fucking brilliant.
I knew you'd enjoy this episode, Jo.
Oh, do it. I'm curious. What's your financial target for this year?
Do you know, I can't, I know it, but I'm going to look it up because I have it open and I look at it every day, but I never actually keep it.
Oh my gosh, she's a girl of
In
your
my
heart,
mind.
Jo.
Why?
Business strategy. Know your fucking numbers.
Money.
Yeah, so literally I have it up. I've had to go to the other screen. Hold on, where is it? Because now I can't remember where I've put it.
And you've got 2 screens. Have
Yeah.
you got 2? Oh God, like I'm left for dead.
So
Left for dead. Blow your way.
where's it gone? I feel like it's disappeared and I can't work out why it's disappeared. Where is it? Hold on. It's somewhere up. No, it must be in this one. Oh, there we go. Okay. So ultimate goal and vision. My ultimate for 2025, 240,000.
Oh,
Nice.
love. Fucking love it.
That was what I put in.
And do you feel like you're going to hit that?
Bloody hope so.
Oh yes.
Take hope out.
Yeah.
Smashing
You
it.
will smash it.
Oh
But I
my
keep
God.
that up. I never close that tab. I have that up all the time. I never remember the number. Like generally, I remember everything else that I'm like, I can't remember things like that. But I keep it open and I always go back to that. And my original plan, like I planned out the year, my original plan went to pieces because I did a challenge in January and I opened my program and literally there was two people I got in, but I went from my membership. I was like, the program isn't quite right for you. And so it put me behind. And I know a lot of people would have then just gone, I give up. I can't do it. It's gone wrong. It just delayed me slightly. And then I did it again and I got 10 people in and I even put the price up and got 10 in. Some of those were paying fools, which was a whole different thing to what I had in January. So although, like if I look at my year plan, I'm like, oh, I'm slightly behind on what I'd planned for Beware. But actually, a whole learning curve within that and a whole massive confidence boost because I got 10 in and they paid a hell of a lot more than what they're originally going to pay. So it doesn't go to plan, it doesn't matter. Like I think the biggest thing, it's not a reflection on me. And it's not a reflection on you. Like if it doesn't go to plan, it's not personal. We just have to look back and analyze what's happened and put a plan in place. And when I did that, like literally everything changed. A month later, my program's running and everything totally changed.
Again, down to mindset.
Yeah, it's mindset.
Mindset.
She's going to keep
It's
dancing.
everything.
It's mindset. Because I know previously, if that had happened, I would have been crying and I'd have been given up and I'd have been, that's it, I'm done. I'm not doing that ever again. I'm never going to tell the world about that program ever again for the embarrassment of it not working. that would have been my thought process. This time around, I literally was like, right, we need to do something different. Like it works. It's a great program. And it was just because the two that asked about it, they just weren't right for it. They didn't need it. And I think that was, so when I think about that, I know it's really hard to go, but I just need money. Perhaps I just put them on it and go for that program. But literally I was within integrity the whole time. I was like, no, you don't need that. Yes, that would give me more money. You need this. And yes, that gives me less money, but that's what the right route for you. And that made the whole difference because then I don't ever feel like I'm in integrity the whole time and I keep within my values within that. And that made all the difference to what I was kind of my process of going through that. It made all the difference to me bouncing back after. But it's mindset. It all comes back to mindset.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a refreshing conversation.
It is, isn't it?
It is so nice to actually see and hear of the success that is possible when we start operating like a business owner. When we actually put the dog stuff to one side. And I know that arguably this can cause a lot of controversy because we live and breathe in the dog world, but arguably we are business owners and that has to come first if you want to stay in a house and pay rent and a mortgage and put food on your table and be able to, just even at the bare basics, look after immediate family and friends and have weekends off and enjoy long bank holiday weekends or whatever it is. But we
Look
have
after
to
your
start
dogs.
operating. Just spend time with them and
Can't
just
do
do whatever you want to do. Like it's not possible.
But also, this just comes back down to like how being client focused, because like what you've just said there, out of integrity, you knew it wasn't right for you and it wouldn't have been right for those people coming into the program. So you're doing the right thing by the people. And at the end of the day, the dogs are the byproduct of the person. We're selling to the people, not to the dogs. And so if we think about it in more of that respect, then it is helping the dogs because the owners are the ones that we're getting on board, or the ones that we go, actually, it's not right for you anyway. So it's going to be a win for the dogs as a bit of a byproduct anyway, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Well, if everybody enjoyed this episode today, you
did.
absolutely need to come to our conference because Shelina is speaking at the CBA conference.
Little bit of bringing the sass to the stage.
But look at the calibre of speaker that we have at this conference.
Thanks. That's very exciting.
We're very, very excited to have you.
Incredibly exciting. We are so looking forward to. And actually, I hope everybody listening can just hear the enthusiasm from the three of us here for business, because that's what those 2 days are going to absolutely fill you with, like the stuff that you need to be a badass CEO and to create a lifestyle that maybe you never dreamed possible. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Shelina, where can people find out more about you?
So I am Shelina the Poodle Trainer on Facebook and Instagram. And the Poodle Training Space is my free group. And then my website, and I'm on With the Flow. So if you ever put in With the Flow dog training, I appear. Flo was my first dog. So she kind of kick-started everything. So I haven't got rid of Go with the Flow. It's just merged into the Poodle Trainer.
Awesome. And you didn't let me ask my question before you launched in.
All right, let's get it now. Chili beans.
So we normally do it in this order. Okay, so hope for I don't flummox you by this question. So you know by now the vibe CBA is going for, you know how we're trying to help people. So with all of that in mind, who do you know or who can you recommend? Or like, even if you think it's completely out of reach, we like a challenge and we'll try and get them on. Who do you think would be a good addition to have on our podcast? In the business world, in the dog world, in any of the spheres.
You know who I'd say? Kiara Mizuko for mindset.
Oh.
Get her on for mindset. She's magic.
Okay. I love her name.
Yeah, I know.
That alone. But yes, mindset. And I think that beautifully sums up everything we've talked about today as well, doesn't it? Yeah.
She'll change a lot of thoughts. That's what I would do.
Brilliant. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you ever so much for joining us today. It has been an absolute honour having you on.
Thank you. I've loved it. It's been so good.
Can't wait to meet you in person in September.
I know.
It's exciting. And I'm going to message you like come Christmas of 2025 and see how far off your goal you are.
She will, by the way.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
I'm putting it in the diary after this. I'm going to hold you accountable.
I better start working then.
Thanks so much, Shelina.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.